How's it going, man? So yeah, I've been crying today. Cry most every day. Say fuck off a lot too. You know, I can't believe how terrible my life is. It's so horrible and so cruel, and it's just so terrible. The Winnipeg police, with the Free Press and Dr. Collister and Nurse Collette, Nurse Delaney, Dr. Chiswick, they brutally tortured my mother to death, punched her in the face, fucking beat her up. She's covered in fucking bruises. Every fucking person in that ward is covered in bruises. They starve you to death, and they laugh in my face, even with all the videos I have of them committing these crimes against life. And you don't do anything. You won't click like for justice. No, shut up. And they roar on, they don't say outright they're satanic, but the force that they have it has no effect on me, but it does on everybody else, I guess. And to me, I'm not fooled for a fucking moment, right? But you say in your mind, fuck, who cares, or whatever it is. Like, how come you can't just click like? I'm demanding only a criminal investigation. They murdered my mom right in front of me. They're fucking punching her out. They're ready to have me arrested if I fucking hit the doctor. Right? They got and that's what they're doing. And I have it fucking taped. I have the doctor saying he knows I'm even fucking taping him. You know, we're right about fucking ready to fucking leave the hospital. Due to the doctor that we've had for the prior 2 weeks to my mom's being murdered, laid off on the fucking stopping her from breathing. And we had to argue about that for fucking an hour. Me and my mom's two sisters, my aunts. To argue with them for an hour. No, we don't want you to stop her from breathing. And they keep saying, no, you don't. No, it's not your decision to make. And then he finally speaks up in the meeting and says, well, okay, we won't do that. So over those 2 weeks prior to my mom being murdered, they hadn't been giving her stuff to stop her from breathing, and she's ready to fucking almost walk right the fuck out of there. And I have on tape the doctor. We don't want any of your medications. I'm gonna give her devil's breath. It doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. It'll ease that congestion. This is what he says. Or he doesn't say ease. The nurse says that, but or it'll clear it up. You know, I have it taped, right? We don't know. And I say, she just got a chest infection from the day before. There's green shit all over the floor, or yellow green shit all over the floor underneath her bed that I wipe up from the day before. I ended up getting that same infection that she had, and it didn't go away for weeks. And I have that videotape too. And it was this thing where, I'll talk about it another time. It wasn't anything you ever would have experienced. This was some kind of biological thing that, in some likelihood, maybe the hospital's working on. But anyway, I'm saying to the doctor, no, we don't want devil's breath. You're going to exacerbate her circumstance. You're going to make it impossible for her lungs to expel the phlegm. See, I know what I'm talking about, you see? Just as when I speak on every other fucking issue on earth. Right? I tell you how 9/11 happened. I tell you how the Boston bombing happened. I tell you how Sandy Hook happened. All I have for my life here on earth is contempt. Your contempt for the value of what my existence means. It doesn't matter what you believe about me. Right? These are the facts. Why can't you defend innocent lives? What is it of your character that you just refuse to do so? You know, when the evidence is put right to your face, as it is with the Boston bombing, you know, maybe with these other issues, it's going to require at least 10 minutes of effort on your part to save an innocent life this guy keeps on bemoaning of, that you should have some fucking concern, something in you to fucking care here, to spend at least fucking 10 minutes just to hear the recordings of the chief medical examiner confirming everything I'm fucking saying, that he is also powerless, he claims. See, he's either he's going to be formally executed because he lied, or if he's telling the truth, it's the highest authority of judicial action in the province of Manitoba. And he told me, as recorded, and you hear him tell us so, that he is made powerless also. He is forbidden to look at the medical records of any patient in Manitoba. The chief medical examiner says that to me over the phone. I want cops to get their guns loaded, right, and get ready to go to the front of that public safety building and take all those demon fucks into custody. They're not getting bail, and when they are convicted, they will be executed. All these fucking satanic pirates who have taken our fucking police uniforms at the public safety building on Main Street. They say nobody's allowed to look here. Nobody's allowed to investigate this fucking massive fucking mass murder crime scene. Right? There's like 5 people within a 2-block radius that I just so happen, I'm not making any forward advancements in this neighborhood, like knocking door to door. Have you had anybody murdered just as of late at the hospital? But there are a number of people that I just know as coincidental interactions, talking to people on the streets here, that have the same fucking circumstance. And the police going, no, we're not doing anything about it. How powerful is this force? What is it of your mind to hear me say these things and you to make no fucking effort? I've been at this for fucking more than 6 months, begging people to wake up, look at the reality. Phone the fucking cops yourself, man. You see, they don't come here. You know why? The guys at the head of that office, they don't want the police officers in the cars or the detectives of homicide to be made aware of this circumstance. Right? There's no way to contact any of these officers outside of this control. And what happens as I give you the recordings? What happens when I tell the cops I want an investigation about the brutalization of my mom being tortured, beaten to death right in front of me? Here's all the evidence I'm bringing to the fucking front desk 7 times. What are the reactions? Think, be human here. Try to be human. What's the reaction? Laughing at me. We don't do that here. Laughing at me. Laughing at you, man, too, It's whose laws are these that defend our community as the civilized? They are pirates, satanic pirates who steal faith somehow. And I don't understand why you succumb in cowardice. What else can I describe for your inaction to do anything about this circumstance remediate, alleviate the fucking continuing fucking suffering and death that is currently going on. I am going to lose my house. I can't afford the taxes. I can't afford to keep on top of the bills. My mom is gone. They steal our lives. Right? The city is going to take my house that's worth maybe $150,000 for $1,500. Because I'm going to be owing them $1,500. They get to steal my $150,000 house and give it to somebody who works at CJOB or the Winnipeg Free Press. Almost fucking a guarantee. These are the 2 institutions who know when these they're on top of things because they've been fucking robbing us left, right, and center. So they're going to pay whatever the highest bid is, as starting at fucking $1,500. And what is my crime? Why do you remain neutral, to not care about my plight? Who cares? Are you saying to yourself, what bad thing have I done in this world? What is my life of? Well, somewhat interesting, it's a good way to go out, I guess, is you look and see what my history is. It's constantly fighting on this front line. They close investigations and people's minds are lost to be constitutionalists. You don't yet have the experience of using your mind to go, it's not the TV's business to tell you where you're sacrificing blindly, not knowing anything. What's the answer? Bin Laden did. Oh, good. I got something to hold on to. Okay, well, case closed. Let's get on with our lives. Right? So it's a cult. It's a death cult where you're not discerning in your mind the cause and effect relationships as what is termed following probable cause to an infringement involving our lives being sacrificed by fucking criminality. So you get this at crime scenes. Right? But they didn't do any of that for you. And Bush even is quoted saying, we don't need any evidence. Case closed. Or he didn't say case closed. He says, we don't need any evidence. And look at that. And then when I bring this to your attention, like in 2001, December, I go, look, is this guy, whatever we want to think of God, this is fucking Antichrist fucking material. This is insane that this whole world is all fucked like this. Can't you hear what those words mean? He's saying you don't need any evidence. And then you see in the Winnipeg Free Press, I remember them having this ad, right? It was like on the 15th or so. Not an ad, well, it's like an ad. But yeah, it's like people going, yeah, we don't, and they're waving a flag, marching down with angry faces in New York, waving an American flag on the front page of the Free Press, saying, yeah, we don't need no evidence, or something similar, quoting, you know, we want to start bombing, right? And so that force you decide to give yourself to, do not say, well, I better decide myself. Why are we going to bomb some people in a third world condition where they're literally starving to death? They're dying by the score almost on a daily basis because they're starving to death. The emergency food was stolen by the Bush regime because these individuals didn't want to do a deal with Enron. That's what the following probable cause indicates their reasons for starving people to death. And you're going to now bomb this country as so proclaimed on the front pages of all our newspapers. And none of them going, well, how does this work out? Well, you know, the secret CIA did some sort of fucking investigations. First I'll become president, then we'll put in some laws to have this kind of fucking filth eradicated fucking from our political scene. We need to fucking know for sure one way or another, and the only way to do that is by gathering the evidence to determine suspects, and then have an opportunity for them to face the accusation, because in some it depends on, in some circumstances, I'm going to say rare, but not in a society that's all fucked up irrational, but if we were, you know, acting more civilized, as maybe our humanity was 20 or so years ago, typically it would be a rare occurrence well, it's not rare, it depends on what we're speaking. I'm being generalized, too generalized, and then it doesn't. Anyway, my main point here is there can be times when you'll get a suspect at a crime scene, and the person looks pretty much guilty. Like, look at this evidence. This is solid. This is provable. We have you on video, but look, go to trial, and then you find out that, as bizarre as life is, twisted in all kinds of different cause and effect stances. In these rare occurrences you'll see in court history, where it turns out, well, that guy actually was innocent. It was just so odd that, you know, the consequences of the evidence that were gathered, well, it didn't have it perfect and as good as the case could have been, because now when we look at it here's the actual perpetrator. Let's say the case I'm speaking on generalized terms reveals. When you find out, well, who the perpetrator is by some other investigation or something else, you go, well, I'm not. But anyway, there are times when even the evil forces of our corrupted criminal institutions can't do anything but have the truth prevail in an example such as the one I've just sort of described. So we see this. And it's in respect to our personal freedoms that we grant the accused an opportunity to speak in their own defense, right? But America, since George Walker Bush, you don't need any of that. None of that. Who cares? We're just bombing children in Pakistan because they're what? The child says, all we are is meager farmers, never committed a crime. My father was the most loved guy in our community. Everybody knows him. Well, why would Obama murder him and all these other children? What's the reason? Right? You remember that? I've written on this, right? And then Obama sends in a fucking drone and kills the kid in a press conference, speaking about his recently murdered father by Obama and Cofer Black. Again, a big player in the 9/11 terrorist attack. Who's Cofer Black? You know, he writes contracts sitting at a desk at the CIA to himself at Blackwater. Right? It's like the president sitting... This is what it's like. It's like the president sitting in the Oval Office going, you know what, I'm going to find somebody better to do my job. That's what I'll make as a decision being president. And who I will hire is, let's say, his wife. and he'll pay her, it's more like 1,000,000 times the amount. Well, no, it's not that high. It's quite high. Thousands and thousands of times the cost of the presidential seat in wages. Like, so he's maybe making $500,000 a year or something like that. He's going to write a contract, as Cofer Black does through the CIA, to his wife to do the job of the presidency, but he's going to pay her, maybe $68 billion. Right? This is with Cofer Black and Blackwater. And so this is what Cofer Black is. He's a demon. He's a real demon, and you can see what his power is. Right? That is everything of what it is. He needs to be tried fairly, and it would be so glorious to see his head fucking chopped off, because he's chopped off the heads of so many fucking Americans. He's all into fucking killing Americans and killing the fucking kids that join Blackwater, not knowing a fucking thing about what they're getting involved in. Right? But he's been responsible for all these fucking crimes, not supporting, having you detail it yourself in your mind. Right? What's the evidence? What do we got? Well, all the evidence gets shipped to China, and Bush says we don't need any evidence. So in Sandy Hook, I solved Sandy Hook. Right? They're gunning down little kids, 6 and 7-year-olds. Right? It's the police department directly working with General Sattler back from Fallujah, where they were ordered at that crime scene, of which I covered also, to kill exclusively only children under 10 and pregnant women and the elderly over 65. Now you start to wonder why my life is so cruel, because this indicates, in the nature of this wicked evil, that there's some kind of force here, and it hasn't been doing us a good as of late. But maybe it's time we rise on the scene to make our rightful claim. Being represented fair as free means we are equals, and I'm just running out of space on my hard drive. So yeah, I've been having some pretty sad days. I'm at the law. I have no more income. I have to give up this fight for justice, and life is no longer. I cannot see any happiness in my future by you denying. Like, if you don't do anything for anybody and you let this continue on, how could anybody live a happy life? Loving the wind and loving the sea, of a cancerous society of self-condemnation, to will no exercise of justice as freedom for the innocent forsaken. The poor are being mass murdered by the Winnipeg Police Department, and they need to be taken down by the long arms of the law with loaded fucking guns. Right? They're facing death sentences. They know that they're complicit in the mass murder of thousands and thousands of fucking people here. That's my recorded. I have contacts in the Manitoba government telling me the numbers exceed 10,000 victims. So officer of the law, you have your gun loaded. When we take them into custody, they're getting no bail. They cannot walk. They know that they're complicit. So you do what's right for yourself, most especially by demanding fair say likewise, and fucking we'll be one step closer to being civilized, and then from there, who knows? If we don't make these changes in our behavior, we're further going to lose out as massive war crime victims. Hillary has promised she's going to declare war against Iran as soon as she steals the presidency. I'm running out of time. Just wake up. She's some kind of, I don't know, whatever you want to make of this, very powerful demon witch, and Trump whores are bigots. They're the weakest of our society. They can't form conclusions. They just generalize everything. The Muslims did it. The black think this, the white think that. That's about all their deeply political thoughts ever given as witnessed so far, because they're still in the fucking embryonic stage of becoming a functional literate fellows of the human species. Okay. Forward this show. Save lives. You can fucking do it, man. I believe in you. Click like. Fuck forward the concern. Take a stand for your fellow man. This is your right. Your world. Do it, man. Do it. All right. It's good to see you. Fuck. It's about time. Okay. Look forward to seeing me in the Oval Office. Fair say all the way means you win too. Justice done is freedom won, and don't forget. And talk to you soon.